Hi there, today I'd like to share with you some thoughts on what kind of material you read and consume that's designed to help you and your business. My name is Carl and I'm the author of the best-selling book Smashing Self-Employment and also the creator of the smashingselfemployment.com business community. Go check it out, there's loads of stuff on there for you to get your teeth into. Now, you'll have to forgive me if there's a bit of background noise today. There's stuff going on around the building, so I'll just do my best, but please forgive me if there's a bit of banging and clattering going on around me. Now, what do I mean about reading material? Well, at the moment, particularly in the United States, the self-help or personal development genre is absolutely huge, and there's no sign of it shrinking anytime soon. But one of the things that I've learned over the years from reading a lot of self-help books or personal development or business development books is that whilst there's a lot of good stuff out there, there's also an awful lot of crap. And in my experience, just because something's got loads of reviews on something like Amazon, positive reviews and 5 stars, doesn't make it a great book, doesn't make it a great download. I've read plenty of business books in my time, quite a few personal development books, and not all of them are helpful. Really, they're not. And sadly, not all of them live up to the hype in all of the reviews, simply because a lot of them will have been written by friends or friendlies with a view to getting the book bumped up or getting it selling well or getting it well reviewed and getting it up in the Amazon search rankings. So how can you go about finding good books and good personal development stuff and business development stuff specifically that's going to help you, genuinely going to help you? Well, the first thing you can do is just to ask around. Who do you know who is also self-employed, who you know does plenty of reading, plenty of research and does plenty of this stuff, who may be able to recommend some stuff to you? Now, I strongly suggest that you ask more than one person, because they will likely have a particular viewpoint and have a particular approach to what they're doing and how they live their lives, how they run their business, which may not necessarily gel with how you do things. So what they might find really, really good, you might not. What they might find useful may be totally, completely and total waste of your time. But what I would ask is that if you do a little bit of research, and you don't need to ask dozens of people, just a handful, half a dozen, 5 or 6 will be fine. And you're likely to be pick up a pattern. Just ask them what kind of books are you reading that help your business, and the chances are good, if there's something that's particularly popular, you'll hear it more than once. So the next question is to say, well, which one of those do you think would be the best one for me to, under my circumstances, get to grips with? But you need to do a bit more digging than just saying that one. Because I've often asked people for recommendations, and I always say, well, that's great, but how has that book or that recording or that webinar, etc., helped you? Now, I'm always wary about people who say, oh, I found it very inspirational, because what I want to see are results. I don't know about you, but being inspired is great, but if it's inspired doesn't lead you to changing anything or improving anything, then inspiration has been perspiration and almost a waste of time. I know we should be inspired when we're self-employed, but ultimately we haven't got time to waste. So we need to get to results as fast as possible. Yes, we want to try and enjoy the journey. Yes, we want to be inspired. Yes, we want to be an inspiration to other people. But ultimately, you haven't got time to waste on things that's quite frankly just, get you all rah, 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 but don't actually lead you anywhere that's going to improve anything. So my next question is often, well, that's great, but what results? How has it changed? What results have you got from what you learned in that book, recording, webinar, etc., or podcast? What results have you got? Now, again, that's going to vary from person to person, because 2 different people read a book in 2 different ways, interpret the information in it in different ways, and apply that information in different ways again. So try and do your research. And finally, if they know you and they're your friend, ask if they think genuinely that what's in the book that they recommend would apply to you and your business and your circumstances. That's if they know you. And if they're not sure, or if they don't know, or if they say no, move on. Find something or somebody else. Now, the reason I'm labouring on this and why I've made a video on this is simply because when you're self-employed, time is precious. It's the only commodity that you give away and will never ever get back. There's no shortage of money in the world. There's no shortage of other resources in many respects. There's no shortage of kit, customers, you name it. But time is the one thing you'll never get back. And goodness knows how many books I've read which have been a thorough and absolute waste of time. Despite the fact that they're well reviewed on Amazon, there's one I read recently, and it was more about the guy's life story than it was about teaching me how to improve my business. I think, well, that's great, good for you. You know, I hate to break it to you, mate, but I don't necessarily need to know the ins and outs of your life story. You promised a lot on the cover of the book, and quite frankly, you haven't delivered. You know, maybe 98% of the book was all about his life story, and the rest of it was things I could actually use. Quite frankly, I think that's the wrong way around. Give me stuff I can use, take away, and help me to improve my life. I don't need, yes, give me some background, but I don't need a whole life story. Just not necessary for me. And I know sometimes it can inspire you, you know, the rags to riches story or the lateness to greatness, and it is inspiring. But ultimately, you need to be able to take that information and do something with it, put it into action. And I don't need more rags to riches story. There's plenty of them out there. But what I want is information that's going to help. So don't believe the hype. There's a lot of rubbish, a lot of dross out there in the self-improvement, the self-help, the business development, the business growth stuff. There's a lot of rubbish. So please do your research. Don't waste your time on things that don't help. Particularly don't waste your money on things that don't help. If you're using business coaching services, for example, to try and help you and it's not doing you any good, make the cold, hard decision and review it and simply say, right, it's not helping, what are you going to do? If it's not helping again, scrap it. You haven't got time, you haven't got the money to waste on this stuff. When you're self-employed, you're it. The buck stops with you. If you waste your time on things, books, research, and all of this stuff which isn't going to help you, quite frankly, you might as well just throw your time and money down the drain. So I would urge you, before you spend time looking into personal development, looking into self-help, business development, do your research. Find out what's worked, find out what's good, recommended by other people you know who are doing well, find out what results they've got as a result of what they've learned and how it's helped them. And then if you think it's worthwhile, go ahead and read it. Remember, if it takes you 4 or 5 hours to read a book and it's been useless, you could have put that 4 or 5 hours somewhere else in growing your business, reaching more customers, improving your marketing, getting stuff out there. So it's ultimately up to you. I know I've gone on a bit of a rant, but I don't want you to waste time on things that quite frankly don't help. I don't want anybody to do that, but particularly when you're self-employed, I know what it's like to have more than enough things to do. So I hope that's helped. Remember, if you've got comments and questions, please write them in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel. It would be great to have you on board. Share it out far and wide. More people in the self-employed and small business community really need to get to grips with this kind of stuff. And remember to check out the smashingselfemployment.com business community. There's loads of great stuff on there. We're developing a membership system with loads of specific content just for you if you're self-employed that we know will help you to grow your business, grow yourself, get more done in less time, get more customers, and build ultimately a brilliant business that's not too difficult to manage. But that's enough from me. I really appreciate you watching. Thanks a lot, and bye for now.